the final game of the day. The fans have been incredible. We hope you've enjoyed the show at home, but the show is not over. We've still got 3 days ahead of us. But for the Thursday here in London, this is the final game.
And it's only going to get better as we go into Friday, and of course, when we get into the weekend, and then Championship Sunday, where a champion will be crowned. A champion is a very different thing. Very different thing.
Cramp hit you at just the wrong time there, Dan.
So we will
make sure you hydrate
someone. But I'm very excited for this game because there are a few teams who still need to step up. Of course, we are going to get the contest yet again down towards Shipfall. It has been a 1-for-1 trade so far between Onyx and Aurora, but someone can come out on top and at least go home today knowing that they were on top in the last series.
Well, it's good vibes if you win that contest at the end of the day. Onyx, they lost the last one, but they won the first one. Where's your money?
I'm going for Aurora, you know. I think overall Aurora still have them, but it could change if they lose this one.
Well, let's see what happens. And of course, we're going to keep an eye on where that zone is going to be pulling. Maybe it's going to favor some of these southern teams a little bit more, because that was certainly a rough one for the likes of Aurora to try and fight their way into, right up by Northpad in those trenches. But as we say, the final time we're going to see some Apex Legends on our screens today. Let's hope this game's a banger.
And I think that there are a few teams who have definitely shined brightly throughout the game so far, the last 5. But it can very quickly turn around if you get eliminated first, and all those potential points are ripped away from you. And that could be the difference maker tomorrow when we do get towards bracket play.
Here we go.
We're going to see some teams go down to the elimination bracket based off of maybe 1 or 2 points. So you have to pick them up.
Here we go.
One last time. Aurora versus Onyx Esports.
Aurora hit the floor first. Smokes go in. Who's got the weapons though? Cleaver's got a Mozam and an RE45. It's very season 1 for him. Not going to be able to connect through those smokes, but Mozambique in these contests can certainly do damage when you're spraying. There's a little blue armor down there as well. Wingman Prowler for Sunset. He's going to be the damage dealer here for Aurora.
I can't stop speaking like this.
Please do.
I see an opponent here.
Onyx are out there.
Are they just going to retreat?
Wait. Onyx can change up the strat here. They want to try and get the high ground. They want to try and get above where Aurora find themselves. And this might be a smart play for them, because now they've got the zone to play with as well. Of course, it's not going to be too much of an impact, but now the foot race is on, and the high ground is completely owned by Onyx, and this is a smart little bit of adaptation coming in.
Well, we did have that one game where both teams just decided not to fight, and it was a foot race throughout the entire map, and then eventually they were able to kind of parallel run across the map with one another, and then they just didn't fight in general. But I think that it was because of the weapons that were found by Onyx. They didn't really fancy taking the fight and risking some points, because as I mentioned, 1 or 2 points could be the difference from making that winner's bracket tomorrow. You really have to take every game seriously. I know it can be so tough when you're in contest after contest after contest. It can become frustrating, it can become a bit of a meme at times. You have to focus up, because this could be that one big game that just shoots you up the leaderboards.
Yeah, I think both teams have realized this as well. I think Aurora were more interested in the contest, right? Especially after having had the success in the previous game. And Onyx said, hey, you know what? We just want to play this game out, because we know we're one of those teams who really does need the point. Sunset. Might see his lights go out in a minute.
Onyx trying to do what they can from a distance. Grenades now are going to be able to just be tossed towards them elsewhere. There is damage going down. Complexity. They're going to be having a little look towards Dark Zero here, and it looks like they got the initial knock, and they're going to be more than happy to try and push up.
But they're going to take themselves up to the slightly thinner oxygen with that grav lift. Nades are going to go in, but no real damage being done. Oh, as I say it though, it's Zero who answers back. Monsoon gets absolutely evaporated by that Mastiff, and now it's up to Zainu to try and hold things down. Jen Burn in this position as well, and Complexity do not look good in that fight. It's Dark Zero who holds strong.
And that's great news for the teams below Complexity. They're just trying to take those points away from them. It means Complexity will finish on 35 in A versus C. Again, a good average amount, but they will feel frustrated they weren't able to add to that total in this game. It was Dark Zero who somehow came out on top, even though the first knock did go towards Complexity. But Dark Zero do just now reset, hold off, and make sure no one else is going to be pushing towards them. But there are going to be a lot of teams over here towards Barometer. People starting to move very quickly once they see where their circle's going.
Yeah, Barometer I think is going to be the place to be at the moment, just looking at where this zone is going. I think a lot of teams at this point will know that where this zone is generally located kind of eliminates a lot of other POIs that you might have considered as being viable endgame options. But Naked, they're one of the teams who are kind of holding out Aurora at the moment. So Aurora, who, as if they're not having a tough enough time at the moment, immediately run into more trouble in the form of this APAC North powerhouse.
It's so tough, and again, it's just being a victim of the contest and not having the loot to necessarily take the fight. They could get a little bit of information from the silence. I think he's going to be able to push in, but I think at the moment Aurora is just trying to avoid this fight, but it's going to be inevitable. It's going to happen at some point.
Is it going to be Aurora, or is it going to be Arufa who comes in and gets that initial damage here for Naked? Rolling Thunder's going to go down for the Bangalore to try and clear him off the roof, but it looks like Aurora have already managed to stave them off for a few more seconds. The problem for Aurora here is just loot, quite simply. They don't have the armors, they don't really have many attachments, they don't have really anything as far as what you would want to be confident in a fight. The only thing they do have is self-belief and confidence.
And the fact that this is taking so long, you know who's going to be walking on up, having a little sniff towards them. Onyx Esports, they heard the commotion. They're moving over from Shipfall, and they will be saying, look, if we see Nox in that kill feed, you know full well that we'll be diving on this and we'll be taking full advantage. Even at one point, Vexed and MDY White were also starting to slowly walk their way over to this area to see if they could maybe pick up some stuff. But after not seeing anything in the kill feed, I think they're just happy to retreat, wait, and be a bit more patient.
Onyx are in a very interesting position right now because I think they're looking for a third-party opportunity, right? As we also see MDY White up on the cannon, maybe having a little think and a little poke and a prod about this. It looks like you can see MDY White trying to see if they can force their way not only into Barometer, but towards where this action is going down. But one team now left, so Aurora will be safe for now as Naked rotate towards Gale Station instead. I was going back to the conversation about Onyx Esports, because they were probably thinking about third party in that and getting involved if they did see Nox, but also they have the ability to wrap towards the south side of the mountain area on Shipfall and approach this zone towards Barometer from the south. And at the moment, there's buildings for them to play. So they might be kind of stuck in between two minds. What do they want to do? And hey, look at that. It looks like they're heading south now, and that might be the call.
And I think it was a very clear decision from Onyx in that contest to say, look, we're on 22 points at the moment. We're only kind of 10 points behind, like a good average amount. And we can pick up some points here. We've been able to do it on World's Edge. If we could just get one game on Storm Point, we're suddenly in that question of actually being one of the squads who can look at maybe getting towards winner's bracket for tomorrow. Even though there's still a job to do in the game tomorrow, at least they can start to get their foot in that door. As for Aurora, it's less likely, only on 6 points at the moment, so they have definitely been the team who have been more likely to take that fight. It's almost like they've just accepted their fate at this point, that they have a contest in both of the maps. But you're right, Onyx have gone down into the red, and they will now probably think about trying to get their way from the southern side, but there will, of course, be teams waiting there. There are so many squads that have moved over to Barometer here and have found a home. The guys that are going to be arriving late, SAF, Naked, Aurora, Onyx, and Alliance, Glitch as well, they're really going to struggle to find some spots.
Looking at go next. At the moment, the picture-in-picture as we change over quite rightly to Vex. This is where I imagine the endgame is going to be pulling. That's why Vex are trying to defend or assault so aggressively at this point to defend this ground. But Unlucky is going to go down. It's going to be the Prowler of Verholst, which puts him to sleep for a few seconds. The question is, are TSM going to push off the back of this, or are they going to value their position over pushing for the KP?
Look how Tyler's checking both angles as well. Very worried that they're going to be pinched, get as much utility down, and maybe go out with a bang here. There is going to be at least a gold knockdown to work with, but here is going to be that other team they were worried about. Just a little nade tossed in towards the corner to see if you can get that initial damage, and the silence coming through just to get even more information.
Yeah, TSM just harassing them at the moment, and now Hal said, you know what, enough's enough. Tries to send in the black hole. Yuki's going to be in the area as well, and looks like Alliance and Fnatic are having a little fight. They're actually completely away from where this fight is going down. Fnatic will be eliminated in the meantime. Vex holding on though. Vex holding on. They don't want to give this away to TSM.
But that gold knockdown shield has been bruised and battered, and now it is almost down to its last little bit of health. And as soon as it goes down, TSM could take full advantage, and it might be the beginning of the end here for Vex. But TSM are not full sending this. They are making sure they are holding their position sensibly here and not overcommitting.
TSM playing this one perfectly. A little peek each. Baiting and switching, taking their time. They've got the ammo to play with here. They should be able to finish this fight in good time, and they know that themselves. They're just waiting for the opportunity to do so. And then not only that, they'll be able to move in and maybe collect that loot. Vex Gaming finally eliminated as well at the hands of TSM. And a little bit of help coming in from Pitta as well. But TSM once again, even though they've got this great spot down, they control the space around them, and anyone who tries to find a little bit of a wonky place to play, TSM deny it.
And maybe just a bit of post-match trauma for them as well. We don't really want to be pushing into a building like that. What if there's a caustic waiting for us once more, and the nades start to arrive? They just played it the safest possible way, and for good reason. They're now on 70 points, leading A versus C here, and climbing the overall leaderboards for every group that's involved and putting themselves in prime position for that winner's bracket. But still a lot to do in this game, 17 squads remaining. Realize, who have been able to, of course, really be a nuisance to everyone with this composition in the late game, but it's a big question for me, can they get there yet again? This is becoming tough now to find anywhere to play at Barometer. Even NRG, who were moving pretty early and did find a position, they are now outside of Barometer and won't really be able to do much from there, so they have to start thinking about how they're going to edge their way in.
One thing they do have available, though, is map room scan, so they can find out where everybody is posted up and what maybe is going to be opportunity to third party should they try and locate their way in. They are going to be safe for now for this next zone and don't have to do too much for the immediate future. One team who's also taken a little bit of a wide route is going to be Onyx Esports, who we did see, of course, over at Shipfall. They're now down in the red over at Cenote Cave doing a little bit of crafting themselves. So even though you see all of these teams piled up, and we are going to see an extremely busy and hectic endgame with the fact that Barometer allows so many teams to coexist with the different elevations, the trenches, the height, the navigation of that endgame is going to be the successful moment. Aurora over at Antenna at the moment, as you can see on your map overhead, they're going to have some work to do to force their way into this, Dan.
And so Onyx do get back on their feet. And even though it's going to be a tough old journey from Cenote Cave, at least they're going to be able to be in a position where they can stay alive and pick up some points here. They just want to get into minimum top 15 to get an extra placement point. If they can work their way into top 10, they would be more than happy. They just want to get closer towards 30 points here in A versus C. At least they have the Replicator to work with, the Crafter to make sure they get as much meds as possible.
I mean, for Onyx, it just shows the value in not taking a straight 3v3, right? If you can get out of it, at least, with one, then you can get a game under your belt. You might find a couple of KP, which is obviously a hell of a lot more valuable than taking a straight 3v3 and losing immediately. So Onyx Esports still may have a little bit of a say in this game, the final one of the day. Aurora now making their way on the complete opposite side of the zone, as Alliance also hold down the choke just to the north.
And then on the far east, you can see Naked are currently getting the survey beacon scan to just find out what the lay of the land is. Are they going to be able to make their way into the zone? What areas do they need to avoid? And they're just going to probably get all of that info in. It's going to be, oh crap,
That's just
I don't know where we go at this point.
All right, guys, let's find out where to play. Oh, everyone's already there.
Yeah, everyone's at Barometer. You can see it is going to be shifting to the southwest of Barometer, though, so a lot of those teams who are kind of on the northeast side, they're going to have to move in a little while, the likes of Dreamfire, the likes of TSM. However, Dark Zero, Realize, Leave No Witness will have to move a little bit. And actually, even though Onyx are coming from the west and it's going to be a bit of a treacherous journey, when they do arrive, they are going to be closer to that next circle.
They are going to be closer, but is there anywhere to play? Because you can see that most of this zone is going to end up essentially the open ground here. The water is going to be certainly a big contributor as far as the terrain is concerned. A couple of rocks obviously to play and a couple of edges of where those buildings are going to be, but it's going to be an open end zone. If I Realize, with the only Gibraltar in the lobby, all of a sudden the value starts to increase. Gibby Stonks going up.
Gibby Stonks do start to go up a little bit. I know there was a lot of hope when there was going to be potential Seer changes that maybe it would reintroduce Gibby back into the meta, but Seer got a little bit better for a lot of these pro players who were able to utilize that silence and really make life a living nightmare for a lot of the other squads that were going to be on the receiving end of it. But it is kind of the calm before the storm at the moment here at Barometer, as everyone is just watching from a distance and some are closer neighbors than other. And it is about kind of isolating those squads who maybe have a slightly weaker composition.
Look at this from Aurora. They want to play this position under the bridge. Can they thread the needle? The answer is yes. And if you're wondering who's putting the damage down onto them, that's going to be Alliance, trying to force the pace here. And for a team who is desperate for points, the one team you probably don't want to go up against this lobby with the way they've been fighting today is Alliance. 2 red Evos to play with as well. Effect the only one without it, but to be honest, the way that Effect's been playing today, I don't think it even needs an armor.
And with how quiet the lobby has been, as soon as we heard some action, I think some teams, their necks broke as they quickly turned to look and thought, can we pick up some KP? Even TSM were having a look towards that one, as now Alliance are going to be going down because Naked are arriving late with their clothes on, thankfully, and will be joining the action as well.
TSM, as I leave that one well alone, once again fight Howard and Arcstar in his hand, and how many sticks has he hit today? Every time he throws one of those things, he sticks it in the belly of his opponents. Reps picks up another one as well, and TSM once again say, this is ours. Do not try and challenge us. Although Verholz maybe overextended for just a second there.
I mean, we had to see a few teams get eliminated as the circle closed because there was not going to be room for everyone. A lot of the open areas are just going to be too vulnerable to have to hold, so instead you need to be taking the fight and you need to be pushing any advantage you may find.
Oh.
This is going to happen now for Leave No Witness as they will get involved and take down Alliance. It will be the end of their day, but what a fantastic day it has been for the EMEA Giants.
Alliance eliminated. Naked and Aurora having a fight under the bridge that we saw just a few moments ago. Naked are eliminated as well, so Aurora survived, but it's just the top 14 for now. Is that going to be good enough? Well, they're going to have to kind of suck it up because they are going to find themselves out as we find 13 squads remaining, and Aurora again flattering to deceive a little bit in this lobby.
Well, Leave No Witness, who have been very quiet so far in A versus C, but might just come to life at the right time. Still in 19th in this lobby right now, but 11 points on the board. If they were to find a victory, they would really shoot up this current leaderboard and just give themselves that small chance of being able to progress into the winner's bracket. Still, of course, games to be played tomorrow, though. It won't be defined here, but these teams will have played 2 series going into tomorrow's action, whereas, of course, we saw only Group D play 1 so far today.
Inside of the zone at the moment, Dark Zero, where we saw them win that fight a little bit earlier against Complexity at the start of the game, well, they're still there, and why wouldn't they be? Great position to hold down for them. Ascend inside of the spinning wheel of doom inside Barometer. They're going to have to hold that down for a little bit of time as well. Realize still on that southern position themselves. TSM having a little poke at NRG, who have managed to just about sneak past them for a few seconds, but this is going to be where Sweet's going to have to earn his corn here. He's going to have to work really hard to get Nathan and Gildersons into a safe spot, but also a spot that's going to be good for around 30 seconds or so after they find it.
I mean, it wouldn't be an NRG tournament if they didn't have their backs against the wall at some point. Guild goes down, it's Howell from a distance who takes him as well. They might get the chance to res, but it's whether the utility here can hit. If the nades connect, it could be very difficult for NRG as TSM now start to group up and maybe try and take advantage of this angle.
But there's one thing that NRG love to do, and that is leave it late. Yeah. However, I'm pretty sure that TSM smell blood in the water at the moment. Hal gets the re-knock onto Guild as well. You can see that they want to finish this. They know this is important for them to clear this side of the map out. TSM trying to play this one very measured. They don't want to put themselves in a position where they're the ones to get knocked with so many teams still alive.
I was wondering when the Dark Veil was going to come down, and they have to force it TSM because they need to be thinking about the circle as well. But there's so many teams that are waiting for them here at Barometer, but Hal will shred through and work alongside his teammates to do the damage as TSM managed to get even more kills on the board. NRG get eliminated. Kill leader now for Imperial Hal as they stay alive going into the top 12.
Now he's trying to work to keep his teammates alive here. Turns his attention towards the team rotating behind them, and it's going to be Peter who should be eliminated. Dreamfire will be out, and all of a sudden it's a TSM takeover again.
Optic go down as well into the top 10 now, but they have lost Verholz, so they just need to try and reset here. They're being focused by a couple of teams. Go Next, Leave No Witness, Dark Zero and Onyx are all looking at them, so it's about just trying to stay alive and seeing if you can find any sort of spot to survive.
I think Reps is trying to stick the res here onto Verholst as well, and Hal's just going hunting. He wants all of these kills. He's going to find one knock. Is he going to find another? The answer is no, but TSM will be eliminated. Good KP, but Go Next. They keep alive here and they stay moving.
Great KP, and it puts TSM on 83 points in these lobbies, and I think they'll be delighted with that as Go Next are down to just 1. As a lot of teams now are struggling to stay as a healthy 3 because there is so much congestion here at Barometer as teams try and force their way through.
Zero's got a Kraber. Zero is in the kill feed. And he's got some ammo to work with as well. Now, a lot of talk about Zainu and Jim Burton, 2 of the best roller players in the world. Well, Zero can do a lot of work on that M&K with the big stick in his hand. A couple of body shots here, a couple of headshots. Certainly going to do some damage at the moment. The genuine definition of shooting fish in the barrel here from Zainu.
Pretty much everyone is on the northern side of this circle as Go Next get eliminated. The only team on the southern side is Realize, and we've spoke about their comp a few times already, and it could be a big factor as now Glitch Energy getting in this fight.
Glitch are going to get a knock, going to get a second as well. Zilash left on his own, but they will fall to Onyx Esports, who have all of a sudden, like a phoenix from the ashes, decided we're not done yet today.
Well, as I said, they just want to get around 30 points. They want to be pushing that average up. They want to give themselves a chance going into tomorrow. And from what has been a horrible contest all day long, they have been the ones that have been able to come out on the better, even though it was difficult in the first series of the day. They managed to do it here in their second series they compete in. Dark Zero is still holding a good position, but they will have to move. 6 squads remain, and they hold the northern side.
Oh, Excel going to be pumped here. They want to have the exhibit available for this fight and this endgame. Zero trying to take some space. Might have been spotted out for just a second here. They're going to have to navigate these pillars, but if you can get these shield cells off, if you can get healthy enough to poke, that Kraber could be the difference maker here for Dark Zero.
Well, MDY White are going to be above them. Onyx are going to be to their left, Ascend and Pulverix to their right. All the meanwhile, Realize are still sitting pretty on the southern side of the map, just waiting in the wings to utilize that combination of legends that they have, Caustic, Gibby, and Crypto.
MDY White forcing teams off of the high ground. They control the height for now. Now they're going to have to fall. They're going to have to fight because they want some KP. They find one, they find two. It could be all three here. Pulverix eliminated. MDY White trying to hold off the third party now.
You can see there is a couple of Caustic barrels that are going down as Realize start to get involved. And now you can see Zero also getting some knocks with that Kraber, getting involved as Lufka gets taken down.
Dark Zero making their move, trying to clean up the pieces of these fights that have gone down in front of them. 2 care package weapons to play with as well as an R99. Zainu's going to have some fun, but Zero will go down here. So Dark Zero have got to rethink this game plan.
All the meanwhile Realize they're still sat on the southern tip. They're still watching. They are still doing damage as every other team is contesting one another. Unless one of these squads can escape the mitts of each other, this is looking like it could be another victory for Realize.
It's also looking like a pretty good spray coming in from Lufka. Onyx Esports eliminated, but what an effort it was from them. Dark Zero will fall as well. We're down to 3. Now, Realize finally getting pushed, getting challenged by MDY White, and that might open the door now for Ascend to win this thing.
Yeah, Ascend win that engagement at the perfect time as there will be an elimination. MDY go down. It's a 3 versus 3, but how much damage did Realize take?
Can they get the Gibby bubble down? Have they already used it? Are they going to be able to reset? Kashira's going to go down, and Sang-Yoon with that massive in his hands has made this one a little bit dicey. Lufka now moving in. He's got the car in his hands, has to hit the reload, but this is looking like a Lufka game, and no! Gibby for the win! Gibby's back in the meta! And what a performance again from Realize, their second win here on Stormpoint.
Realize do it again. In the regular season, they only found wins on Stormpoint. In fact, more than anyone else did in that region. And we're starting to see why. The legend composition they've put together, when it gets into that end game, is sometimes so detrimental to the rest of the lobby. So difficult to push into that bubble. And they timed it perfectly, and their positioning was excellent.